morning, everybody, and welcome to the Balancing Act. We are so glad you joined us this morning. I'm Julie Moran.
And I'm Olga Villaverdi. Okay, so maybe you're one of those people who just loves to learn and better yourself and your options in life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you're one of those people, get ready for a great education.
That's right, because as much as we love a good makeover, inner transformation is so much more rewarding than the outward kind.
Amen to that. The Balancing Act starts
Right now.
Today, we conclude our 12-part series, Reclaim Your Life. As you've seen in our past 11 episodes, overcoming addiction is a tough journey for those seeking recovery, but many unique programs are available to help, and they all can be found at Transformations Drug and Alcohol Treatment Center in Delray Beach, Florida. Dr. Marina Esposito, the Executive Vice President of Clinical Services at Transformations, joins me now for a retrospective. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Doctor, there are a lot of centers out there, but what makes Transformations Treatment Center so unique?
Transformations is very, very unique in that we take a holistic approach. We look at the entire person. We look at their physical well-being. We look at their mental state. We look at their spiritual needs and so forth. So we'll look at population from 18 and over.
And I want to look back, so let's start first with the Summit Detox program.
We partner with Summit Detox. Many times people come in and they need medical care. People cannot do this alone. It's very, very dangerous to do this alone. So we have a wonderful staff with a psychiatrist, medical doctor, nurses, nurse practitioners to really meet the physical needs of the client.
When they've lost hope, and we kind of are in the business of providing hope. That's what we do.
And after going there so many times, and something I know you pride yourself is with the holistic approach. So let's recap that again.
Yes, the holistic approach is very important. Not only do we stabilize them medically, we take a look at the deficits that they have in terms of vitamins and minerals.
When we have people come in here, typically they're very depleted nutritionally. So we look at it as our goal to try to get them as healthy as we can in the shortest time possible.
And I know healing really begins when you go through the partial hospitalization program. Can you tell me about that?
Yes, once detox is done and people are medically stabilized, they come into our partial hospitalization program. This program is really designed to give a person 30 days. It's almost like a timeout so that they're medically stabilized, and then they can start to dig into what are the underlying issues with addiction so they can become educated about addiction and the dangers of addiction.
I liken it to switching a light on inside the client to illuminate all of the hidden issues that they haven't been dealing with and haven't addressed. And we turn that light on both in individual therapy and in the group process.
And for clients that can't be there all the time, you also have an intensive outpatient program.
Right. Well, our intensive outpatient program is designed twofold. One is for people that need additional help after the partial hospitalization program, but also sometimes people cannot take that time away from their families or their jobs. And so it will be designed for that client as well.
They have jobs where, doctors, lawyers, teachers, a home, a family. And so what we offer them is a similar level of care where they could come in, they have support, they have feedback.
I remember spending some time in your chapel, and we discussed the Christian faith program. Let's talk about that.
We're very proud of our chapel. For people that want a faith-based program, we offer that. We do music meditation in there. Clients can feel comfortable when they talk about higher power. They feel comfortable saying God, Jesus, Lord. And they use their faith to help strengthen their journey in sobriety.
And something else that's extremely unique is the program that helps people who are out there helping to protect our lives every single day, police officers, and you have a very unique first responders program. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, our first responders program is very unique in that we really deal with police officers, firefighters. One of our employees is actually a Marine, and also a 25-year veteran of the police force. So many times our veterans that come in, or policemen that come in, feel very comfortable speaking with him because he has been able to gear that program towards the special needs, the traumas and the heartaches of that population.
What makes it unique is that it is put together and run by a first responder for first responders.
And the road to recovery doesn't end when you leave the programs because you have an alumni program.
Exactly.
And that really helps so many people. Let's talk about that.
The alumni program is extremely important. You know, many people come into treatment, they think they'll be in for 30 days, they're done. It's really the aftercare that makes the difference. And when you stay connected to the facility, when you stay connected through AA and NA, this is where the longevity starts. And so people come into our alumni program and share the trials and tribulations of the day. They share their joys, they share their successes.
I want to make sure that every client knows that we're there for them and that we are also in recovery. So we can help them, we can give them suggestions, and we're going to do whatever we need to make sure that they stay on the right path.
What an impact Transformations Treatment Center is having on so many people that go through there. You see it every day, and you must feel so proud when you hear those success stories.
I was having dinner with my husband earlier this week, and the waiter brought us to our table, and he looked at me and he said, "I know you." And I looked at him and he said, "I was in treatment with you." And because of confidentiality, I would never recognize that. 3 years later, he's sober, he's working, he's happy. And it made my day. I went home and I thought, all the work that I've put in with all of the clients that we've had, to see someone happy, productive, and working
Amen.
Was fabulous.
Transformations Treatment Center, really, really changing lives. It has been a pleasure to have spent so many episodes with you and your staff. God bless all of you for what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. And if you want more information on this segment or any of our past segments or our series, you can go to transformationstreatment.center or our website, thebalancingact.com. Education is certainly one of the most important tools for a successful future. Sometimes the average tuition can be too costly. However, this morning, we're going to tell you about Florida International University, or FIU, which offers online and brick-and-mortar campus classes and degrees at half the national average cost. FIU is a highly accredited university in the U.S., and with me this morning, Christina Chung, FIU online success coach, and Jennifer Latham, an FIU online student. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for being here. You know, I was reading here, Christina, this is pretty amazing. You are the 4th largest public university. I did not know that, and I lived around that area for, I think, 20 years, by enrollment, and 54,000 students. That's so impressive. Let's talk about that online application and admission. Easy, how does it work?
Our fully online programs now have been up and running for 4 years, and it's the same process as it is for an on-campus student.
Okay.
So you submit your application, you make sure you meet the requirements, you give in all the documentation, and then you're in.
Jennifer, is that what you did?
Yeah, it was fully online. You know, I figured I would at least have to drive down there, turn in paperwork, none of that. I just filled out the forms online, submitted everything, and I was done.
What I like also, I was reading here, Success Coach Model. You offer that to all students that enroll?
So every student that's a fully online student enrolled in any of those classes has a success coach assigned to them.
And what do they do?
What that means is you have somebody that's going to support you and be with you throughout your entire time, from the moment you start all the way until the point that you graduate. We also have a number of resources for our fully online students. We have free online tutoring, we have career services, we have librarian services. So we don't want you to feel that if you're not on campus, you miss out. We still want you to feel just as connected as an on-campus student would feel.
How have you used those tools, Jennifer?
Just knowing that they're there, you know, it's more for a peace of mind, because it is a little bit scary to jump out of the comfort zone of what college should look like. You know, so when you're going online, you know, you feel like you're alone, but you really aren't. You know, you use them for group projects, you know, you have interaction with your classmates. There's discussions that you participate in with your teachers as well as the other students in your classes.
You don't feel lost?
No, I mean, there's always somebody there kind of helping you, holding your hand, guiding you through the process.
And let's talk about the non-traditional student. I know you went back to school because you did not finish. Is that correct?
Correct.
Tell me about what happened.
I have been trying to get my bachelor's for 13 years.
13 years?
13 years. I had my son when I was very young, and unfortunately at that point, you know, I had to stop. I had to work full time, make sure that I was taking care of his needs. And then when I did get married, my husband was in the Army, so we moved to Oklahoma, so there was a blip there. Then when he got deployed, I was pregnant with my second child.
Oh boy.
So it was just, it was too much, and I chose family, you know, and making sure that my kids were happy over education.
But now
we're home, we're back, we're settled, and it's my turn. It's my time.
That's what I love hearing. And even me, I've even thought about going back to get my master's, and I'm always using the, you know, the time factor, but I can do it too. Anybody can do it, right?
I mean, we have students that are in other cities, other states, other countries. I have a student in Africa, 2 in Chile, and they're worlds away, and they're still connected to the university. There's so many of our students that work full-time, they have kids, they're taking care of their parents, but you can do it. You can still do it.
And we also have to really note here that it's not just online. I mean, FIU, the campus has grown tremendously. It is huge. And I do want to tout the fact, I mean, you're really on the map, that it is the #1 granting institution for undergrad and graduate degrees for Hispanics. It's come a long way.
At the end of the day, we want to engage with our students, we want to educate them, and we want to empower them to accomplish the goals that they have. If her goal is to get her master's, it's possible.
Well, in about 4 years, you might be having a little Samantha, who is my daughter, who says she wants to go to FIU. So there you go, there you have it.
Wonderful.
For our viewers out there who'd like more information on FIU, what's the website?
It's FIUonline.com.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. And
thank you.
You're going to do it.
I'm doing it.
What's the degree in?
Interdisciplinary studies.
Good job. All right. Thank you so much. You come back and you tell us when you finish.
You got it. Absolutely.
All right. And for more information on FIU, again, the website, FIUonline.com, or go to our website, thebalancingact.com. The shame, the embarrassment, the anxiety, the stress of constantly having to scope out the nearest bathroom. For approximately 40 million Americans, that's a daily reality. Worst of all, approximately 70% of IBS patients suffer in silence because they're too ashamed to bring it up with their doctor. Well, today, we're talking about one of the most significant medical breakthroughs in decades. It's called IBS Check. It's a simple blood test, and it could benefit millions of IBS sufferers everywhere. Joining me now is Dr. Mark Pimentel, gastroenterologist at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in LA, and Ashley Walkley, one of the very first patients to benefit from this discovery. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Doctor, let me start with you. And really, again, I have to repeat this. 40 million sufferers, 70% too ashamed to talk with their doctor. And I'm going to be completely honest here. When I first started dating my husband, he's been an IBS sufferer since he was a little boy. He didn't like to talk about it. He was ashamed. It's very common, isn't it? Why?
Well, I mean, doctors don't understand the disease or haven't for so many decades. And so often in medicine, when you have a patient in front of you, they're suffering and you want to help them, but you don't know what to do. You say it's stress or you say it's anxiety, and then you tell the patient, you know, you live with it, or maybe you want to take antidepressants, or these are the types of things that doctors do. We want to help our patients. But the answers hadn't been there, and now they are. And so I think that's the new exciting things coming forward now.
And Ashley, when he says live with it, that is, oh my gosh, my husband would tell me that all the time because he'd be in pain and I'd be like, you gotta do something. Oh, I've been living with it for you. I just live with it. I live in pain. And I'd say, what? That's crazy.
It is, and it's, you know, I've lived with pain for almost 8 years. And I was fortunate enough that it happened later in life, but.
So what happened to you?
You know, I was stressed out. I was working, but I started actually, my symptoms started with bloating and distension and loss of appetite, super fatigued because I wasn't hungry. And then came the severe abdominal cramping, and then kind of erratic bowel movements and unpredictable bowel movements that really kind of changed my life.
And you don't know what's going on, you go see a doctor,
no.
And then what?
You know, I started out by, I didn't even know what a gastroenterologist was.
Why would you?
I never had, you know, any type of stomach issues my entire life. Started seeing my primary care physician. He wasn't alarmed. A couple months went by, living through the pain, as you mentioned. Go back to the primary care physician, was given a basic antibiotic to treat, you know, any type of typical stomach infection. Had maybe a month or two of relief, and then just kept getting worse and worse and worse.
They even told you you might have Crohn's?
Well, you know, as I kind of moved through this cycle, and after having, you know, anemia, thyroid, all these other things ruled out in basic blood tests, I finally sought the care of a gastroenterologist. And we did a number of invasive kind of tests, from endoscopies to colonoscopies, pill camera endoscopies, abdomen CT scans, barium CT scans, and you know, I was misdiagnosed with Crohn's at one point and became, you know, it's hard.
It's very hard, and you still don't know what's going on.
And I still wasn't feeling well.
And you're not feeling well.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, my husband, I think, has had 2 endoscopies. I think the poor man has had 3 colonoscopies. I mean, this is common.
Well, it's very common, and as I mean, we see patients, 25-year-old women, they come in the office, they've had 3 normal colonoscopies, CAT scans, all the things that Ashley described, and to go on for 5 years with this diagnostic dilemma and continuously being tested, and the expenditure of that, these patients suffer a lot before they finally get an answer. And so, I mean, we hope that we can get an answer quicker. I think that's our goal.
And we have a breakthrough that is and possibly will change lives. So we're going to talk about that. Please stay right there, because when we come back, Dr. Pimentel explains how he was able to achieve one of the most important diagnostic breakthroughs to date in IBS. And Ashley is going to tell us her diagnosis with IBS Check and how it has affected her life for the better. And it's such a simple test. Stay with us. Welcome back, everyone. We're talking about one of the most significant medical breakthroughs in decades. We're rejoined by the doctor who was part of the research team that made that discovery, Dr. Mark Pimentel from Cedars-Sinai, and one of his patients. She's doing very well today, Ashley Walkley. Welcome back.
Thanks.
Doctor, let's talk about the new developments with IBS and what we've learned.
Well, what we know now is that IBS often starts from an infection. So if you eat at a restaurant and you get food poisoning, that's the starting point. And it took about 10 years to figure this out, that there's a particular toxin on this food poisoning that then causes antibodies to form in your bloodstream against you. It's like autoimmunity. So IBS, we now think, is an autoimmune disease, and we can measure these antibodies. And then it causes damage to the nerves of the gut, and then the gut doesn't behave correctly. Bacteria starts to build up, which means that IBS is a real disease. So we've actually proven it's a real disease for the first time.
And there is a test now available for people like Ashley and my husband. It's quite simple. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, today we're talking about IBS Check. It's a test that measures the 2 antibodies that are really relevant to the cause of IBS. And when they're positive, you can be identified in 24 hours, as opposed to 5 years or 6 years that Ashley suffered through.
And we're talking about patients who, again, have gone through years of not knowing. They just have to go in, a little check, as opposed to a colonoscopy, endoscopy, CT scan, and the list goes on.
Exactly. I mean, imagine the suffering that Ashley went through with all these tests. Could have been all avoided with one test. And we now have that test.
Is the awareness there for GIs and even internal medicine, family practice? Are they aware of this?
Well, everything takes time. So it's a new test. Gastroenterologists are probably aware of it, but the primary care physician community, they need to know. And now's the time to learn about it.
IBS is known as the invisible illness. Mm-hmm. So obviously you meeting Dr. Pimentel, I can only imagine, has really changed your life.
You know, meeting Dr. Pimentel and having been under his care for the last couple of years has really been a game changer for me. I feel like I finally have answers, and it was one blood test. And now that I have this diagnosis through the simple blood test, I'm actually able to build a treatment plan to manage the long-term symptoms and now have a true understanding of what the disease is all about, and that it's real and not my head. Because I think for so long, many IBS sufferers do feel like they're suffering in silence. People are like, you look great. And it's like, yeah, I've dropped 15 pounds because I can't eat. You know, they don't understand that there are long-term side effects, and managing those can be debilitating. The exhaustion, the fear of food, the constant pain, you know, knowing, I mean, I remember laughing on my way to work. Like, I know where every restroom was, like between my home and my office. You know, it can be embarrassing. Think about dating, social situations, public places, airplanes, traveling. I mean, everything is a conscious decision, and it all relates back to food and how you're feeling.
I think physically, emotionally, and spiritually,
absolutely.
It's extremely draining.
It takes a toll on you. And, you know, I'm grateful for the work and the research team that developed this blood test, because it really provided the answers and the longevity of me to be able to have a path.
You know, doctor, I don't even have IBS. I hear this, and I'm just so happy for her. I mean, it's changed her life.
I know, it's just amazing, because a blood test saves all the time and money that she had. Imagine 6 years of trying to figure it out, and this blood test within 24 hours, your doctor orders it. You can go to Quest or Commonwealth Laboratories, and you get a result, and you know what you have, and you can get to the treatment right away.
So again, a prescription from your doctor, you go to Quest Diagnostic, you take a simple blood test, and within 24 hours you find out, as opposed to waiting I don't know how many years. And what have you spent out of pocket, Ashley?
I would say over the last 7 years, I've probably spent in the neighborhood of like $20,000 to $25,000 out of pocket after insurance for different testing, medications, and treatments.
Big game changer here, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate it.
Thanks
You're
for having
gorgeous,
me.
and keep on as strong as you are. Doctor, for our viewers out there who'd like more information on IBS Check, where do they go?
The best place to look is IBSChek.com. All the information's there.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. And of course, if you'd like to log on to that website, once again, it's IBSChek.com, simple blood test, or go to our website, thebalancingneck.com. As always, we'd like to commend our Transformations guest, and we'd like to wish all of you who are trying to make a life transformation the best of success.
Absolutely. And if you're thinking about trying to improve your life through higher education, bravo to you. We hope we've given you some great resources to achieve your goals this morning.
For all this great information, just log on to thebalancingact.com.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. See you next time. Find your balance. So long, everybody.
Bye-bye.